What's up, Sparky Coach podcast coming at ya. How are ya? What are you doing? Talking today about finding work, and I just want to encourage everyone, make it simple. Make finding work simple. And I got a message from someone today, and it said just got a new client, like a facilities manager or building manager or something. I don't know, gold jacket, green jacket, it's all good. I was super stoked, and for him, and he was like, I was like, well, how'd you go about it? And he goes, I just asked. I said, I want to work with you. How do I do it? And I was like, that's so cool. Like, you know, you can have the sickest sales funnel into the sickest thing, but if you're a dickhead, no one cares. So it's like, or if your product sucks, no one cares. On the product sucks as well. You know, it's pretty crazy to think about, like, a lot of the energy and effort and time goes into finding clients. And I think we've got to, that's really important. There is that, unless you've got this family-run business over the last 40 years, like, you probably have to find clients, and I think it's about, like, recognizing that, and, you know, the more people you talk to, the more deals you do, the more people you talk to, because it's like, it literally is about who you know to some extent, and to some extent cold calling is just getting to know someone from the ground up, from full-blown ground zero. It's interesting to talk about, because it's like, I'd love to criticize cold calling, because in my life not much good has come from cold calling, and because pretty much you look at it and you're like, okay, if you don't know me and the work I do, the only thing you can go on is price. Like, and you can't go off reputation. You got no idea about me. You can't go off our staff ability. You can't go off how good our back end is. You can't go off anything except price. And then you're just comparing, you know, an apple for orange, potentially thinking it's apple for apple. But, you know, I talk about a mixed bag of diversified clients we've got. In some people are like, hey, my best client came from a cold call. My best client came from a Facebook post. My best client, and Facebook posts, right? Like, Facebook, it sucks. Like, you look at it and you kind of laugh at it. You're like, but it's worked for someone. You look at cold calling, you laugh at it, it's worked for someone. You look at B&I, you laugh at it, it's worked for someone. You look at a cold text message, or like a text campaign, an email campaign, insert whatever finding work strategy or structure or whatever you want to call it, everything has worked for someone. So it's like, and I think the reality is, the more you do, the more that could come of it. In other words, if you do nothing, you can almost guarantee what's going to happen. Nothing. Right? And word of mouth is fantastic. Like, I'm a massive believer that, like, you should be doing such a good job that people tell their friends about you. You should be making such good pizza that someone's eating it and going like, hey man, you got to try this guy's pizza. It's awesome. Or this girl's pizza. It's awesome. Like, that's what you want. That's organic, and that's natural. And you're never going to stop that as long as you're doing a good job. On the flip side, if you're not doing a good job, then you got to watch your back. You got to watch yourself, because if one person tells one person a positive review, one person tells 10 people a negative review. So, and you've got to watch what you're doing, and you've got to draw lines in the sand with, like, okay, so it's like, what is okay and not okay for you to do in your company? Like, if there's a tripping light circuit, and you're at a residential, commercial, you're at working for the council, is it okay to put that on a circuit breaker or not? I know what you're thinking. It's not, because it's illegal and you wouldn't do a thing like that. But you have to recognize, like, you have to draw these standards in your company, and to Australian standards, and be like, hey, certain things aren't okay. It's not okay to run that in that point. It's not okay to do this and this. We're not looking for the easy way out here. We're going to solve this issue, and your clients need to see that you've got standards, that you won't compromise the mainframe, that you won't compromise the rule book, that you won't bend the rule book, that you won't change change the rule book, that you won't adopt your own company standards, that Australian standards will be above those standards. Clients need to see that you have these standards. It's like sometimes you think about it and you laugh about the analogy I said before, and it's, sometimes people try and save the client money, and your staff members go through psycho trains of thought trying to save the client money because $1,000 is a lot of money to them, when it's like what you just did then was illegal. Like forget money, like that's illegal. Like you can't do that. And it's like you've got to make sure your company has and sticks to a high level of standards. One other thing that always helped me, I always did this, and I remember just thinking, like, what would happen if my key competitor walked in and looked at our job? Like, could they rubbish it? Could they take a photo of it? Could they lock a circuit out? Could they shut it down? Because it's like you don't want someone to come in, and make no mistake, if you're in the game long enough, you'll get a chance at most clients. That's just the reality, because their current Sparky or Aircon Lord or Solar Lord will drop the ball, just like you'll drop the ball. The goal is to never or rarely drop the ball. That's the goal. Are you going to be perfect? Absolutely not. But when you're not perfect, what do? I think you've just got to own up your mistakes and be like, hey, that sucked. We've changed that process now. That purchase order didn't get processed, but we've changed. Well, there was a new staff member. We're really sorry. It's not going to happen again. Or, hey, that happened here. Yeah, that sucks. We've changed it now. No cost here. Like, you've got to have these sort of standards. You've got to put your hand up when you drop the ball, which you will drop the ball. Hopefully you don't drop the ball. This is where staff meetings are so important, and education, because I remember so many times your staff members are like, oh, I'll leave that for later. And you're like, no, that's dangerous. Like, you're not going to leave that for later. Or I try to save the client money, so I did this. It's like, no, that's affecting our product. Now our product looks average, and the client's not going to pay for something twice. I have to pay for it the second time. The first time it should have been done correctly, done well. And I think if you can just see the forest and the trees, if you can just be like, hey, with certain things, we do not compromise ever. We do not walk the fence. It could go either way. We're always on the safe side of the fence. We're always on the ethical side of the fence. We're always on the standard side of the fence. We're always on the building code side of the fence. We're always on the what line in your company needs to be drawn, and who needs to be called out. And culture is a really funny thing, right? Because culture's made up of as much as what you allow and what you walk past. What you don't allow and what you walk past. So culture's like, hey guys, don't do this, don't do that, or do this. So you're setting some standards. But if you lay down some standards but walk past someone at 7:20 and don't say anything when they should have been there at 7, or you walk past something that's like, it's questionable, that looks a little bit close to the bowl there, that looks a little bit close to the sink there, that looks a bit touch and go to this, hey, I probably wouldn't have done that, let's do it differently. If you walk past that stuff and don't call it out, what you're doing is setting and creating a culture that you might not want to see the end result of. So if you walk past the moments, you create a standard. When you create a standard, you create a future. When you create a future, you're either looking at it in a positive or negative sense. So you've got to consistently walk the tightrope. But it's interesting to talk about, because a lot of us want to find that new client, and that's great, and you should be doing that and consistently replacing those average or not so good clients with some great ones. Or how do you make those average or not so great clients great? And sometimes it's a conversation, and sometimes it's a hard conversation, and sometimes it's no conversation. It's a bit of Bon Jovi. It's my life. It's my way or the highway. It's now or never. I ain't gonna live forever. Bon Jovi fans, can you hear me? Yeah, I know you can. But you're looking at it going like, okay, sweet. So like, we're always finding work, but don't forget about keeping the clients you've currently got. Don't forget about educating the clients you've currently got. Don't forget about having some beers with the clients you've currently got, or going to the footy with some clients you've currently got, because a bird in the hand really is worth two in the bush. And sometimes you can spend so much time, energy and effort focusing up on the new and getting excited about the new and getting caught up in the new that you forget you've got a handful of awesome, amazing, generous, kind clients that they're like, that you can let down, and you can let them down so many times, but, you know, someone else gets a go in, someone else turns up to that job on time, someone else turns up to that job with pricing something that you didn't get them back to, someone else turns up and sees some subpar work, and they're like, oh, hey, that's not okay, we're going to fix it now. All of a sudden, the new client is like, your client is like, all right, forget about who I had. This person's heaps better. The goal for you is to retain clients. Like, make no mistake, the goal for you is to retain the good clients and never compromise that, because so many of us get some great opportunities, but we fail to hold on to them because we're always searching for something new. And it's like, I'm not saying don't search for something new. That's important part of the journey, but don't forget about what is as well. And it's so easy to forget about what's in your hand that it consistently can chase the dragon, and the dragon could be an insatiable thirst that might never be quenched. So looking at it from a subjective point of view, your job description as a business owner in the finding work situation is to find clients, yes, and keep clients, yes. Very, very important. Obviously, I'm not talking about the clients that suck. That's not what I'm talking about. But generally speaking, a lot of your clients are probably pretty good. And stop making excuses as to why you lost them. Stop making excuses about like how you let them down. But start just not letting them down and start doing some awesome things. I had a client come up with us who shall remain nameless. And it's funny over Zoom, right? Because over Zoom, you get a piece of the picture, but not the whole picture. You get their head or sometimes a bit of their body, if you're lucky. No nipple yet from this guy, but, you know, this is still early days, see what happens. And I remember he came up and and he was like, let's have lunch. We had a bit of a sushi date, a couple of beers, bit of sushi. Bangalore sushi's amazing. If you're ever in town, come say hi. And had a bit of a date with him. And then looking at it, I was like, fire, he's like 6'3", maybe taller, ex-VFL god. He had muscles in places I didn't even have places. I'm like, what is that? I gave him a hug and I was like, let me just feel that a little bit more. I was like, I don't even have what you've got at the back there. I didn't even have that part. Where did you even find that part? But it was so cool to watch. It's so cool to watch your clients, and he'll be laughing if he hears this. It was all PG. It was all G to PG. Maybe not even crossing into the M territory at that stage. But still, once again, early days, see what happens. But he borrowed my surfboard, which is super cool. Had a little past session. But it was just so nice to see clients become your friends. And I think that's a natural progression of doing the right thing. Just like your staff members or your people you work with, where you did your apprenticeship or whatever, should become your friends. Like, have the same camaraderie, have the same spirit, have the same ethos with the clients. Like, are you going to be best friends with every single one of your clients? No. But like, probably not going to invite you everywhere, but just have that spirit that's like, if we're consistently doing the right thing, if we're consistently performing, if we're consistently sending out invoices on time, if we're consistently keeping it within budgets and everything like that, then why wouldn't you be friends with this person? Why wouldn't you go out for lunch with that person? Why wouldn't you go for a beer or a coffee with that person? Why wouldn't you call that person and be like, hey, I'm just seeing what's coming up for work-wise, I'm budgeting in the next 3 months. People want to work with good people, and my question is, are you good? You might be good when people are new, but are you good consistently across the board? And so in the finding work situation, don't overcomplicate it. The more you do, the more that could happen. The more deals you do, the more people you talk to. The more people you talk to, the more deals you do. So are you doing the things that you can do? We've got an amazing finding work Bible. If you need that, reach out. We're happy to send it over. And I just think, like, just go after what you want. Genuinely ask. If you want something, just ask. If you want something, just ask. If you want something, just ask. Don't feel weird or bad or uncomfortable in the asking space. Just be like, hey, we feel like we do awesome work. We see what you do. We'd love to work with you. How do we go about that? And, it's really cool, like, to think how relational the whole work scenario is. Like, you can have the sickest expression of interest form or this really cool, like, real estate, like, brochure, or you might drop the coolest letterbox what do you call them, like flyer around. But it's, reality is, like, jump on the phone with someone, break some bread with someone, and get to know someone and see how you can help them. Not how they can help you, how you can help them. And if that's good, you'll create a relationship, and that relationship might just boost you into the future. Don't forget, every single person knows lots of people. So once you get in with one person, don't just see it as, I got that new client. You got that new network. Hate that word, but you know what I'm saying. You got that new friendship base, that new crew. So my question is, are you the hungriest hippo? Could someone walk into one of your jobs and criticize it, critique it, find fault with it? If so, change your ways. Repent and apologize to the trade gods right now. As much as it is about finding work, it's also about not losing work. So find those clients, yes. Keep those clients, yes. And if you've lost a couple of clients in a row, critically assess what's went on there, what was the reason, and you might be shocked when you realize a lot of it could have been your fault. So critically assess, run the best business ever. See you guys soon.